Elijah, when talking about the biggest matchups in this game, I think it's one of the ones you already hinted at. For me, let's look over. You talked a lot about ASU's rushing attack. For Utah, it's can Utah establish and run the ball? And honestly, this is going to be the key in almost every single game. ASU's defense, run defense wise, was fantastic last year. This year, they haven't been quite as good. If you look at their rushing defense overall in the conference, it's actually 10th right now, or excuse me, just they're over their team defense overall there. But if you look at their rushing defense, they are second in rushing defense, but team defense all the way down to 10th. So pass defense has to be better. And yes, their rushing defense has been good, but they don't have the talent like Utah does on their offensive line. So reminder, this Utah offensive line is 2 first-round picks at offensive tackle. Someone could say, well, they got pushed around by Tech. Yeah, Tech's entire D-line is going to be in the NFL next year. That money was well spent in the offseason. Tech is a really good team. Utah does not want to be in third and long situations. This Utah team against UCLA, they were 14 of 16 on third down. Why was that? It was all within 4 yards. Everything's available, especially that potent rushing attack. Against Tech, they were abysmal 4 for 14 because they were in third and longs constantly. The biggest weakness to this offense is the passing game, is the long passing game right now. Short passing game, they can do some stuff, but they are not a pick you apart, deep passing offense. That what they need to do is continue to run the ball. And I do think that's the biggest key for both sides. Utah running the ball and ASU trying to shut down that potent rushing attack. Utah's rushing game right now, yards per game basis, Eliza, top 10 in the country. So the Sun Devils are going to have their hands full in Salt Lake City.
Yeah. And, I think you have to start tapping into that run game. You have so much talent. I mean, Wayshawn Parker alone, he's an immense talent and he's so young. And then obviously you have Nakari Rogers as well. And that 1-2 punch should be prolific. They should be one of the best in college football, especially behind our offensive line. And they have yet to, I don't know if it's really click. And I think Whittingham said that he's waiting for an elite back to separate between the two. And I think that you won't get that unless you start running the ball more. And in game situations, obviously in practice, it helps to, try and see separation, but in game, that's when you're really going to get the feel for who is the true RB1 in this offense. And I think obviously Jason Beck, he's clearly a more pass heavy offensive coordinator. But running is Utah's DNA, whether we like it or not, whether it's flashy or not. The run game is Utah's DNA. It is Kyle Whittingham's DNA. And I think you have to tap into that more. That's what, led us to success in 2020 and 2021, 2021, 2022. And I think you have to get back at that. And you can still incorporate the pass game. Clearly, it's been like Ryan Davis. He's probably one of the best, slot receivers or short yardage receivers in the Big 12. But other than that, you really haven't been getting as much as you would like. And I understand that their receivers are the receiver room is pretty iffy at best at the moment. But then that's even more reason to get the run game going, in my opinion. You have a solidified name, Wayshawn Parker, Nakari Rogers. I think you have to tap into that. And I think if they do, and if they find success in that, despite Arizona State having such a good run defense, I think there's no way that they don't win. And like you said, I think that they cover for sure, especially with the weather.
I agree. Yeah, that'll be a big thing. And if we're shifting over to the other side of the ball, it's a little different of a key because, yes, Arizona State's rushing attack, you mentioned, they've showed some promise there. Absolutely. Like what Raleek Brown has done, 506 yards, 6 yards of carry, that 2 touchdowns. Like that is a part of the equation for Utah. But while there are some questions about how the young defensive tackles are going to perform if there are veteran injuries, I feel good about Utah's ability to stop the run in this game. I think they'll be able to. Maybe I'll be wrong. They held up well for a lot of that game against Tech. Let's remember, it really got out of hand when the defense got wore down because they were on the field constantly. I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think this Utah offense is going to have a much better showing against an ASU team that, to me, they'll overwhelm in the trenches on offense, and then the passing attack will be able to pick them apart slowly but surely, even if this is not an offense that is going to hit big play after big play. On the other side of the ball, don't let ASU hit big play after big play. Jordan Tyson's the best receiver in this conference. Do what you did last year when you saw a team from Arizona with the best receiver in the Big 12. Utah last year against Tetairoa McMillan, 6 catches for 50 yards. Limit Tyson. Make someone else beat you. No one else on this ASU team has over 200 yards receiving on the season. So make anyone else go out there and beat you. The other thing for Utah is affecting Sam Levitt. Mentioned he's been sacked 12 times on the season. How about 4 times just against TCU? And there's no John Henry Daly on TCU. They got to find pass rush, but they don't have John Henry Daly. And I think Logan Fano's starting to heat up too. We know the blitzes that Utah can bring as well. You got to contain Sam Levitt, not let him get going. To me, if Utah is able to shut down Sam Levitt and Tyson, especially that connection, I think this should absolutely be a Utah win.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's pretty much the heartbeat of Arizona State's offense right now, is that connection and that connection being available, right? If you crash the pocket and give Sam Levitt no time to really process his reads, or even have time to say, I can get Tyson on this play. That's already, you're already winning half the battle, because shutting down Tyson is pretty much the key. Like you said, Raleek Brown has been doing good, and he has 500 yards on the season, but our Utah's defensive line is still one of the better defensive lines in the conference, especially the defensive ends. Obviously, Fano is heating up, and John Henry Daly, we already mentioned, he's probably the best pass rusher in the college football right now. And I also think that Jackson Benny, he's going to be a big part of shutting that down. He has 3 interceptions in the year.
Hopefully healthy.
And if he's healthy, I think that'll be a massive plus for Utah in getting that connection kind of severed in this game. And again, back to the weather, that's also going to play a factor, right? You can't simulate what could potentially be what Mother Nature could potentially bring down on Rice-Eccles Stadium on Saturday, and I think that'll also play a factor. And I think that Utah needs to take advantage of that, because if you're putting a lot of pressure on Levitt, that's automatically mixed with the rain going to mess with his head, and I think that's going to be a big plus for Utah.
I agree. Isn't it? I think bad weather favors Utah. With how good Jordan Tyson is, Sam Levitt is the better quarterback, even though I did think Devon Dampier could absolutely outplay him in this game. It just feels like Utah, if it's like, oh, hey, we got to run the ball every time, like it's a fist fight, I'll take our talent in the trenches over yours. I think that favors Utah. And you feel the same way?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I remember last year when we were down, I forgot what game it was. I don't know if it was U of A, or it might've been U of A when it started raining in like the second half, and we started actually coming back, and I was like, oh, hold up. This is, we play better. And for some reason, bad weather favors, Utah. And that even happened in the game in Tucson 2 years ago. Once it started raining, Utah started coming back. And so, that it almost is like it unlocks a different level of the team in terms of, like you said, the running game, and that mixed with the offensive line, you have the defense, you have Arizona State's defensive line not getting their footing set and everything, and I think that only benefits Utah. And I also think that's why Dillingham is putting so much emphasis on the rain, even though there's only 50% chance, because he knows how much it favors Utah.
Yeah, it would favor Utah, so it'll be interesting to see how ASU can handle it. It's also going to be fascinating to see who wins this dang game. We're telling you in one moment. Today's show is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHSS top safety picks awards than anyone else. Once again, more IHSS top safety awards picks than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention how they craft every model. You can just feel how much care goes into every single detail. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with more confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved with Mazda.